Good morning. Wonky camera angle again. I really ought to do something about that, hadn't I? I'm not quite sure what. Good morning. Pyjamas look lovely, Sheila. I'm sure that they are just the right attire to watch me today. No need to bother getting up. You can just sit and watch and have a nice cup of tea. Heather, I hope that little dog is not too exhausted with a 7-mile walk. Bless her. 8 months old though. Goodness me, how time flies. And also how time flies with showing you this little beauty, which the dye itself is an old one. That's why I talk about how time flies. It is from the background collection of, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, as Celtic or Celtic. I think it depends on where you are, maybe even what we're talking about. I'm not sure. Squares anyway, and it's an old Sue Wilson one from about 4 years ago, and I thought, do you know what, let's have an easy Sunday. Let's have a Sunday where you don't really have to measure anything, so hence that's what we're going with today. So I have chosen some of the new colors to work with from the linen card. This one was a fuchsia, but I'm going to choose, I'll just bring in a little bit to show you. I'm going to choose this colour, which is turquoise, to go with. It does seem very, very dark in here. I hope that you can see okay. So apologies if it is a little bit dark for you. Just doesn't seem to be doing the trick there, but I've got all the usual lights on. I'm not quite sure. So it's an 8x8 card base. And I thought, rather than do loads of measurement, let's get the dies and use what the dies are meant for, which is the Presscut square nesting dies. There are a few left, literally just a few left. Got some stitched ones left, but these are the plain size. There's masses in there. I think there's about 30. So you've got all you need to have for that. But I'm going to concentrate on using it with my lovely square. So let's show you. I'm going to do slightly different frame for you today. So it's a slightly different one of them. I'm also going to use vellum because I didn't want such a bright card as what I've got here. So I'll show you what I mean. So this one here is with number, if we go in counting from the outside, that die is number 3 because that fits in on my 8x8 card with a little bit of a white border around so that it's not too stark. Okay, so we're going to go for that. So subsequently, to start my card off, I'd already cut that out with my turquoise, and then I'm going to go the next die down, so die number 4, to make my first piece of card. So with that, I'm going to pop this there. I'm going to cut a white piece of card to start off with. Oh, thrown it all on the floor. My lovely clean mat, as you can see. So I've got my plain white piece of card, and I'm going to tape that into position and run that through my machine. So that's just ordinary plain white card. And I happen to have, because I've got my 8x8 card, I've got die number 4 from this Presscut set. Okay. Yeah, easy like Sunday morning. I was just listening to some songs while I was waiting to go live. Oh, did you hear me singing? Hopefully not. A bit like a cat. But yeah, I had Adele on. She's one of my favourites, I have to say. So Adele was singing to me that it was easy on me, she said. So here's my first piece of card. Now I'm going to also cut exactly the same size. So I'm not going to change the die. And I'm going to cut that from one of my piece of turquoise cards. Okay. Just tape that into position as well. Okay, so let's just run that one through. Oh, I can get hold of it. So no measurements because I'm using the dies to do all the work. Oh, Mum's screen suddenly got brighter. Don't know why. So I've now used the same die and cut out exactly the same size from my turquoise sheet. So this is one of the new colours from the linen. I'm trying to get some new colour swatches all together with those new colours, but I wanted to do them in a slightly different way. So bear with me because that's a slightly ongoing project at the moment. So I'm going to put my die number 4 away. I don't want that anymore. And I'm going to take my die, just disappeared over the back here. This is the die that I'm going to be using. So I just want to have a little idea of what size die I will need to cut out from here, really, so to cover it. So just grabbing a random one. That's a bit too small. So I'll try another one. That fits more or less exactly, but I actually want it one size up from that, so that I've now got, if you can see that, a little border all the way around. So yeah, that's the size I want for that. Now, but I'm going to miss the next die size, so you can see the gap here. Hopefully, I'm going to miss that next size from that one, and then take the next one. And that's the size I want to cut out from this white piece of card. Okay, so I'm going to take these out of the way. So I want to make my frame, and I'm going to make it slightly different than I usually do, because I'm not going to have a coloured piece on the outside of my frame and inside. I'm only going to have it inside. So I'm going to eyeball this one, as they say, and I'm going to place that into position. And I'm then going to run that through my machine as well. So I'm giving myself a white border here. Okay, I'll run that through. Yeah, we could be singing Easy Like Sunday Morning, but we don't want to sing. I won't sing it, okay, just in case that you're all singing it. I think it's probably best I don't. I need this piece of white card, so I'm not going to do anything with that piece of white card apart from pop it to one side. And then I'm going to put that die back, and I'm going to come in with the next die, which was 2 downs, if you recall. So I pop that back, missed that one die, and then I've gone with this one. So in order to cut that out, I'm going to pop my white frame exactly over the top of my turquoise piece, because if you recall, I cut them from the same die, so they are exactly the same size. And then I'm going to bring in my other square die and then just tape that into place onto my turquoise. I'll remove that carefully and then run that piece through. So it's the same dies, same die set, I should say, so that we've got that all set up beautifully. Just running that one through. And again, no measurement. No measuring required just at this stage, or any stage, I think. So I'm going to keep that piece as well. And you can now see that I've got a frame there. Oops, pop that into place. I've got that nice frame. Now I'm going to make that frame into a staggered one. So that's going to involve some of my foam tape. I'm going to turn the white one over first And I'm just going to place end to end with my foam tape. And I want this to, as I say, be inverted, if you see what I mean, so that my blue one shows underneath there, but just sitting up a little bit, which I think is going to look quite nice. So I'm just going to get my frame all ready. I'm going to put an extra bit of glue onto these bits of foam to make sure that it sticks okay. And then I'm going to pop that directly onto here. And if you recall, the squares were exactly the same size. So with any luck, we should be able to get them matched up perfectly. With any luck, she says, so that they fit. Ooh, perfectly on all four corners, like so. And if you have a look there, can you see that that is staggered down so that that sits up there like that, which is quite nice. Now I'm also going to prepare it, but not stick it to anything at the moment, by popping some more foam onto the back of here, because I want it to be a bit of a showpiece as opposed to just an ordinary flat card. Okay, so I'm not going to take the tape off or anything. That's all ready to pop onto my frame once I've got my piece of artwork for the center. Okay, and if I bring in my card blank, you see that we will be showing that piece on the back there, so it will get that little frame as well. Okay, so pop that to one side. Now we had a piece, if you recall, left over from the center of the white frame here, and we're going to put my Celtic, whatever, squares into the center. So I'm going to take some fresh tape and just hold that into place, and then run this little one through. Whoops, to reveal hopefully a very pretty pattern. Oh, I'm also going to pop it in that way so that gives it more chance to go over the pattern. So it's just on an angle, which looks quite nice. Okay. Oh, sounds a little bit sad, doesn't it? So just check before you take it away that it has picked up all of those pieces. Just going to scoot them off of my plate there and just remove these pieces. Oh, gosh, that wanted to stay well and truly stuck, did it not? Don't want to tear it. It shouldn't tear because it is the easy release one, but nevertheless, it was a bit much. So just going to poke out these last little bits. You can see it cuts beautifully and leaves us with a really pretty pattern. Now you could do this and that be it, but I want to put a little bit of vellum on it because I think that the vellum will tone down the colour and give, because I've got the outer frame, it will give a really pretty effect because you've got two tones of the same colour, if you see what I mean. Hopefully you will in a minute. So I've taken, oh, I haven't taken all of those pieces out. I think I have now. Yeah. So now I am going to check whether this piece fits over there. Yeah, it does. Oh, that's clever, isn't it? I didn't intend it to do that. Oh, look, there's a cheeky little bit there as well. Okay. So that one's going to sit on top of there in a minute, but I want to tone it down. So I'm going to use a piece of vellum. This is the bright white vellum from Creative Expressions. And if you can see what I mean in a second, we will see that this is completely toned down. So because we're not measuring anything, I need to grab back the die, which is not that one, but that one that I cut out that with, because I need to cut that out of my vellum, because that's what I wanted to do. So just thinking here. No, I didn't do it like that when I did my other one, and I'm not going to do it like that because there's I'll explain in just a second. I'm going to take the next size up slightly bigger, which, let's make sure we get the right one. That's better. I want the size die that I cut out the white piece with. Okay, I'll explain in a second. So I'm just going to cut out a piece of turquoise and a piece of the vellum with that as well. Now, the reason being that when you're trying to stick vellum can be a funny customer, because when you want to try and stick vellum to something, you have to make sure that you're not going to be able to see any of the glue, because even if you have got dries clear glue, which I use all the time, you can still see it might dry clear, like i.e. not white, but it still dries with a mark, shall we say, because the vellum shows it. So it's either a case of cheekily hiding the glue. So, for example, if you've got vellum flowers or something like that, making sure that your glue dot or your dot of glue, whatever, is hidden by a flower going on top of it or something like that, or the infamous butterflies that go on top of that. Or like this, I'm going to hide the glue underneath this white edge. So subsequently, if I had used the smaller piece, which I had here, which although it was cheeky and did actually fit perfectly, but only just behind the panel that I wanted to, there's no room to stick the vellum, virtually no room to stick that vellum and glue there. I mean, if you're being really pedantic, you could just about do it, but I think that I will just go for broke and have it like that. So, okay, so I'm going to stick my vellum on here first, and so I'm just going to go onto the very edges, because I know that I don't know why I've got a blob of glue there, that is going to be hidden by the white frame. So I'm not going to put any glue in the center there. I'm just going to put it here. So I'm going to add that, and you can see already this glue would be a disaster even if it dries clear, because in a minute you should be able to see that some of it will have dried already and it still will show through. So here, can you see, as it's drying, it's just becoming clear, you could say, because it's not white like it was here, but it is still showing heavily. But if we then pop that over the top of it, you won't be able to see that glue line. And if I had used this one, I might be on a dodgy line as to whether I would completely be able to stick the vellum to the background and get away without showing any glue through. So that's why we did that. So I just wanted to see, don't know why it's gone missing. In a safe place. Anyone know where that is? No. Okay. Not to worry. Not to worry. So I want to stick this beautiful detailed frame straight onto here. Okay. So I'm going to get my glue box and my spray glue. And I'm just going to onto there. I could use my sticky specs, but the spray glue is ideal for me just at the moment. And because it was all exactly the same size, I can stick that down and know that it is going to stay stuck in all those places. Okay. What I wanted, what I'm looking for, which I don't know why you don't know where it is. This is what I'm looking for. The glue eraser. I can see up here that that sticky tape that decided to stay very much stuck has left a bit of a dirty mark. Oh, if I can open it. And so I wanted to get my glue eraser and just take that off. So I'm just wiping that like you would an eraser. I'm just wiping that over. And that was the other corner, because we don't want any mucky bits on there, do we? Okay, so let's do a little bit of an ensemble. Let's take that to one side as well. So here's my card base. I'm going to have it so that it's a top folding. So that means that the fold of the card is at that top. And I'm going to stick this one down first. So this was just the main matte layer, which I cut out with one of the dies. I'm going to pop that down in the center, like so. Then I'm going to take my frame here. Now I'm going to try my best to pop it into the center anyway, but I am just going to check with this, because I just wanted to make sure, if possible, that I need to pull that up a little bit. So I'm going to put some glue straight onto this. This piece is going to go straight onto the background. Okay. But I'm not going to press it down too hard at the moment, because I want to make sure that when I put my frame on, that it is in the right position. And if you can see that, it isn't in the right position at the moment. So first of all, I'm making sure that I've got, as far as possible, the same size border all the way around with my frame. I have no glue stuck on that bit. But I can see that this bit needs to come down a little bit. So before that starts to stay stuck, that's better. Just wanted to make sure that that was in the right position. So I can see a bit of mucky pup there as well. Okay, so that's stuck. Remove the back of the tape off of here. And you can see then that, hopefully you can see anyway, that although I'm using the turquoise card, by popping the vellum over the top, I've given it about a 2 shade maybe paler version in the middle of the card, but it still blends in beautifully with the card that we're using. So by, instead of taking a different colour, we've got the same colour, but we've got that different shade, different depth. So it tones it down beautifully. And by giving a wider border here, it picks that all up beautifully. So now I'm just going to take some of the scraps of card. That's hardly a scrap, but I'm just going to take that and my other scrap here. Actually, I have got a bit of scrap here. So I've used one of the Stencil Sentiments from John Next Door. This one says best wishes. Now, I didn't want to have to use any measurements. So subsequently, I'm going to take this, and I know, because this was cut out from the center of here, that this is a straight line here and here. So if I butt my sentiment up into the corner, I know that 2 sides of it have already been cut out and are already straight. Yeah. So I'm going to pop that onto my cutter, my die cutting machine. So I haven't got a die for this to cut it out as a frame, but I think that this works really, really well. It's only a very thin one, so it's not a problem. So cut out, and you can see that that has all been cut out, and I will just remove my die, and you can see that that is giving me the colour through it like that. So first of all, with this piece, I'm just going to trim it down. And in terms of measurements, I'm not measuring that. I'm just going to trim it down so that it is straight, really. I've not bothered to measure it. But with the stencil dies, they do have a straight line on it. So you'd be able to see if that is straight. And I'm just going to just trim that down so that we've got our sentiment like that. Okay, then I'm going to take my little bit of glue here, and I'm just going to pop that, whoops, onto the back. Now, obviously, I have used the die set today. I'm just going to pop this in this top corner. Sorry, I'll say that in a second. I'm going to pop this in the top corner here. And again, keeping it straight where I know that that is a straight line and that is a straight line, so that I can just pop that like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to trim that down to the best of my ability, giving me a straight line here as well. So just hopefully, she says, giving it a straight line all the way round. Okay, I'm going to pop a bit of foam onto the back of that so that that's all ready to go onto my card. And one final thing, I'm going to make myself a flower. So I'm going to pop that, that's ready to go. And I'm going to use just any random die set that I happen to have around. This one, which is possibly do you know, I don't know whether it's the cornflower or the periwinkle. Well, it fits in onto that scrap that we were using, like so. And I will just check. I can see that it isn't going to fit in on that bit. So let's just move it over. And I'll see if it fits in on the other bit. No, don't fit on that bit now. I think it fits in. Just about. There we go. So I'm going to run that through. And in this case, I'm going to use nearly all the dies that will come out, all the die shapes. I'm going to use nearly all of those to cut that through. Just to make up just one big flower to go on my side here. Just check. There's just those little ones there that I haven't cut out. So I'm just going to turn that round. Run that through again and see if we can't get the middle bits. There you go. Audrey's saying I could have stuck the vellum straight onto the white border of the die piece and it would have saved cutting another piece of blue. Thank you. You said it's a beautiful card as well. Yes, I could have done just that. You are quite right. The one I made, the pink one that I made, I changed it how I made this one from that. So yeah, you're quite right. I didn't, if you look in a minute, I didn't make a wider border, which is why I used that other piece. So I'll explain that in a minute. The only thing I'm not going to use are those two smaller centerpieces, but I'm going to use all the other flowers just because I can. I'm simply going to take each petal and I'm going to fold the pieces together. Can anyone tell me if it's a periwinkle or a cornflower? Because I can't remember. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue into the center and then the next size up. So the whole idea of these are that you've got 2 flowers, 2 layers of each size. So you could make 2 full flowers, or 3 full flowers, or 1 very full one, which is what I'm going to do here. So I'm just going to layer the whole thing up, just to give it one big focal bit, really. But the pattern here is so pretty that you could get away with not putting any flower on it. But hey ho, I don't know about you, but I think a little flower just looks so pretty on any card, really. So a flower it is. You think it's cornflower? Oh, thank you, everybody. Yeah, I couldn't decide whether it was cornflower or periwinkle. I think that they're very similar, but they haven't got the centers to the other one. And this one also gives a really nice middle center to be able to hold these little devils with. So I'm just really need at this stage something to hold it with. I've been very, very busy changing my dies that have got the plastic pockets, the plastic, what do I mean? Shells over. And as you can see, I've got cuts on my hand because trying to get the dies out of those plastic pockets in the first place. Oh, blige. Danger money. That was danger money. Don't think I'm going to use that one, just this one. I'm going to take my moulder frame and I'm just going to really push hard onto the centerpiece of that one and then pop that into there. But I'm pleased to say I am absolutely delighted. I have got a box. I won't tell you how many's in there of one of my boxes because I've got 5 more. But I have given myself almost between a half and a third more room just by putting them into the poly pockets instead of the shells. So I'm delighted about that. Well worth it, even if I need the danger money for my bloodied fingers. Okay, so I'm going to pop my lovely little sentiments there, and my flower is going to go in the corner. If you recall, I popped some foam onto the back of it. It can go anywhere, but whoops, I'm going to pop it there. Try and get it even. When I say even, I mean even from the background. Yeah, so you've got pattern on there, but it's quite nice so that you've got an even pattern there. Pop a bit of glue onto the back of that, and that will sit there. You can see my Dry's Clear Glue is seeping through just at the second into there. And then I'm going to take my gems and I'm just going to pop some of the larger ones in the centre. And whilst I'm at it, kind of think that those centres are asking for having a gem in the centre, don't you think? And they're just there. So whether you've got vellum or not, you can still do this card because the vellum just tones it down. I just thought I'd fancy using vellum. Whether you've got the die set or not for the squares is fine because you can always do that yourself by hand, obviously, in cutting it. It's just that a lot of people prefer not to have to think about centimetres or inches and just get the dies out and use them for what they're meant to be used, which is cutting out mathematically correct little pieces. And I think I'm going to pop a little one. Choose a little tiny tiddly one to go on the eye of wishes. So let me bring in my pink one again, or my fuchsia. Let me just put the lids back on these. Hold on. Otherwise I'll be in trouble, don't you think? So we have got two of the same but different. So if you see what I mean, Audrey, on this one, I didn't put that dark colour. I didn't do a first frame. So this one I've got like a frame all the way around, but this one I didn't. And so I did have to put a piece of coloured cards. And I should have thought about it, but I didn't. Anyway, but that is like that. So you could get away with really just one piece of coloured card. No, two pieces of coloured card you'd have to have, because you've got your outer piece here. Two pieces. Yeah. But it's just a different way of doing it. So not worrying too much about the outer die on the frame, but using it so it's the inner die. You can see it clearer on here, so that I've stepped it onto that one, and using the vellum to tone the colours down so that they're not so much in your face, however still using them in their raw state, and then it all tones together, so you're not changing and introducing a different colour. So there you go, on the wonk, but oh, there. That shows how wonky my camera is by the time I put it like that. And that is the pink one as well. So let's just bring in both of them. You can see them there. A little bit wonky still. Anyway, so the I do have the vellum back in stock. That's been out of stock for a while. So I've got vellum, the white. Now, bright white, this one is. This is the bright white vellum. The other vellum, which you can use for sort of wraps and things, has, if you put the two together, a slightly different effect. And this is much thicker. So that is my preference for using it on this particular thing. The die set that I used is called Celtic or Celtic squares. And I've also used the John Next Door Sentiments as well. And as we said, I've used the cornflower, but any flower will do, just to finish that off like that. I've put best wishes because it could be for anything, I think, really, couldn't it? It doesn't need to be any particular session. And as I said, that is the one that I used there. Now, we've soon, watch out if you're interested in doing the workshops with John Lockwood, watch out for them going up on next Saturday, the 22nd of January. They start to become available, the places for that, which is ready for the 26th of February. And I've also squeezed in a 5th of February's workshop online with just myself. And that is going to be on Saturday morning this time, the 5th of February. It's really because I've had to cancel my January and February classes for my real people, if you see what I mean, my lovely people that I see in real. We just decided that we have got so much ruddy COVID going on at the moment that it really would be safer to just delay it a little bit. But I'm offering a class for those people that were there, but also anyone else that would like to join us on the 20th of February. Sorry, looking at the diary. On the 5th of February, Saturday, the 5th of February, but it will be 10:30 till 12:30. If anyone's interested in that, just message me and I will get back to you on that one. I'll be back on Wednesday with a little sort of fun technique that you might be interested in, show you some different things. And sorry, I'm looking at things. Thank you. Oh, you're all so lovely people. All saying that you like the die and like the card and you've got the die, so that's brilliant. Yeah, as I say, the actual die set was from 4 years ago, and so if you have got them, let's get them out. whilst going through my boxes there, decapitating all of the plastic shells, I went through some of them, and I'm going to do a few more of the older ones because they still have room in them, do they not? So, thank you very much for joining me. See you on Wednesday if you can at 11 o'clock. And don't forget, this is always on YouTube, so you can always refer to this. It'd be lovely if you could leave a YouTube comment. That would be great. Any of the products seen today over on the maximumcrafts.com website. Take care till then. Thank you very much. Stay safe and well, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.